And that's where, of course, Team having last pick, they do have that flexibility. That is still whatever they can do if Brax does inevitably want to go to the DK, or rather, if Rioya feels like he can get away with something else, they can always swap things around. Of course, they need to see the lanes before they could ever make that decision, but that's what you do when you have last pick. You keep as many options open to you as possible, and okay, they've gone for the Disruptor. I don't really like this too much, just because even though I value Disruptor very highly, I think it's one of the most slept on heroes in the patch. I think it's got a really fantastic shard that's really just overlooked. Nobody really talks about it ever, despite giving you like haste and your Thunderstruck and attack speed. Um, you have Sniper Disruptor Puck. You are not beefy. You don't have a beefy bone in your body. And if you get DK stunned, you are going to die. If you get missiled and it lands, you are going to get run down. And until they pick up a hero that I think can either double down or get some defensive capabilities on their side, I think that they're just kind of get run at, because very similar to the previous game, you didn't have fantastic heroes of sort of running away or disengaging. Of course, at the same time, Arkosh just sort of ran at Team without any care in the world, threw caution to the wind. But I think now, if they seriously do want to take this game off Team, they need to get something that's going to combo with these heroes. Because right now, they've got a decent amount of damage, but they are really, really lacking a stun. They need control. They need something. Because right now, their support duo is not going to give it. They need to get something from their offlaner. And I mean, they're getting Razor. Razor versus Gyro is a classic counter pick. It also makes it a lot harder for this DK to lane anywhere if it goes mid or off lane. But they need something. They need a stun. They need to do something about this. Otherwise, I feel like Team, again, they are the robust lineup. They're the team that is drafting just a little bit more seriously. I love this Razor pick, but again, we need some catalyst for fights to begin. It can't just be the puck coil, because otherwise, I think there's a situation where coil is going to go down and the Team heroes are going to sit in the coil and they're not going to care about it. And that is worst case scenario for Arkosh right now, is if they don't care about your puck.
And we saw, back to the sort of Disruptor we saw earlier today. It was no ping running the Disruptor and the IO, but they didn't really have the lockdown they needed after that, and it feels like a similar situation here. Disruptor Sniper, as you said, you don't really have a crazy amount of lockdown. You can do some work, maybe with the Static Storm if it's well placed, but in a lot of situations, Team may not be able, or excuse me, may not really care about it. They're going to have some relatively durable heroes. The Wyvern could respond if she's not caught in the storm, hit your own up here, hit your own heroes up with the Winter's Curse, and then you just sort of sit there and stare at each other for a few seconds before the fight gets started again. So, I don't know. The Disruptor, as you said, it certainly has its benefits, but only in the right kind of scenario, where it has the capability to get those sort of big spells out there and have that impact. If you have to worry about your Disruptor getting locked down, getting jumped in on, even potentially getting silenced if the Skywrath Mage has his way, then life does not get very fun for that hero in particular, and right now, there's no one else to really help him. As you said, it really does seem to be coming down to Puck with the Dream Coil, and that's not going to do it. It's going to get you into some fights. It's not going to be able to control everything that you need it to, and it just feels kind of scary. But Arkosh do have one last pick here. Maybe they can pull it out, sort of round out this lineup with something that's going to tie it all together, but those options seem a little limited at the moment, and time is a bit of a factor as well. They've only got 2 seconds on the reserve clock, so they've got to sort of come to a decision pretty much now. Okay, well, the Bat does give them a little bit more in the way of lockdown, that's for sure, but still doesn't give Arkosh much of a frontline fighter. The Razor's really going to have to step into that role.
Yeah, and with this, again, they're all in on winning their lanes. They're making it so that this DK is more of a liability than he is going to be a resource for Team, because now you're laning versus a Razor or you're laning versus a Bat Rider. Ideally, even if you're laning versus the Puck, you will be able to still be able to get pretty much all the water runes. It's very hard for DK to ever contest over the Puck. I was going to say, they could always just go back for this hero. So instead, they're going to value sort of sacking, I think, this Dragon Knight. Oh, they might be talking it over, whether or not they want to play this as an offlane Winter Wyvern, but I think that you pretty much have to put Brax on this DK. Even though you are going to get countered pretty hard no matter what lane you get over to. I think Arkosh, they've kind of doubled down. They got their stun. They got a stun. which is going to be big for them. I think if they can actually dislocate, keep Sammy Boy down, they've got finally have that really, really good run at you hero. And this is going to be what? Canis Vulpes is on Sniper. It's going to be Sniper mid?
Oh. Hmm.
Offlane Puck, Sniper mid, and a what looks to be a 4-Bat Rider? I don't know. There's a lot going on here. At least we'll have to see, of course, whenever they decide to walk to the lanes, and Brax will also slot in on that DK. But again, I'm not feeling too comfortable with how Arkosh have set this up, especially now you have all that farm priority on the Sniper coming into a last pick Ember Spirit. I feel like he's just going to get blown up every single fight. If they ever find him, he is going to die. They are going to have Blink Daggers. They're going to have the missile vision. This is not a good sniper game. This is not going to feel fantastic. So Canis Vulpes needs to absolutely work Rioya. Otherwise, every single rune is going to be something that Canis Vulpes has to be scared of. He's going to be forced to hide in lanes. He's going to be forced to not show. And again, if Arkosh they can't just win their lanes. They need to win their lanes, they need to be super farmed, and they need to be playing out of their minds. And then I feel pretty confident with what they could do. If any of those three things fail, though, I think Team, again, they've just got the more robust, simpler lineup. It's just Blink Stun, Skywrath Ultimate. They've got Homing Missile into all of their magic damage. They just have a normal lineup versus what Arkosh has sort of mangled together to win their lanes. So I'm a little bit scared, I'll be honest, for Arkosh. This is looking, I think, even a little bit weaker than their previous game, even though they look like they're going to come out ahead in lanes a little bit more.
Yeah, just a situation where it feels like they, as you said, drafted to try and win the lanes, but didn't have much thought to maybe the overall synergy of their lineup. So we'll have to wait and see. If they do actually win their lanes, then who knows where they can take it from there. But as you were sort of mentioning, there's so many factors that need to go correctly for this Arkosh lineup. If any of them fall short, then they're going to be playing at a rather significant disadvantage. So I don't know. All the cards on the table here for Arkosh. Sort of do or die moment for them. If they lose this game, their run in this close qualifier comes to an end, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what is sort of up their sleeves here trick-wise, as we see a bit of a rotation into the south side jungle. Cerberus and Shadow wrapping their way around. Really don't feel like this is going to result in much of anything. Maybe they could get a deep ward here, though.
And Flea's got the ward. Yeah, he's paying it out. Mike's got the sentry. Unfortunate.
Ouch. Well, that's going to make the mid lane a little bit rougher. It was already a matchup that we were sort of concerned about with the sniper, and now, uh-oh, Mike? He's going to go in with the burn. Brax, I mean, he put the point in the Dragon Tail, so they're actually going to go for it. They've caught out Gremlo. Do they have the damage to bring him down? Yes, they do. As Rioya gets in there with a sleight of fist to finish things off, they very nearly lost Brax in the process, but DK survives, and it was a bit of a risk going for that Dragon Tail. If you don't get the kill, all of a sudden his lane looks a little awkward, but first blood secured, and while it is still weird to have level 1 Dragon Tail in the laning stage, you got the gold. It's going to sort of work out in your favor in the end, and Brax should be hitting level 2 pretty damn quickly once this laning stage actually gets started. So nice aggression from Team. Mike starts it off. They're able to sort of close out a big kill on to that puck, and well, that might just be the play that sort of sets the tone here. Team going to want to sort of go at their opponents pretty frequently. You see Flea up in that top lane already going to work with the concussive shot, so they're just going to sort of try and keep that pressure on. Don't let the Razor really get anything in this scenario.
Shane.
Yeah, and Brax is just doing a really good job keeping the creep wave back. They're both trying to keep their creeps as alive as long as possible. Okay, so even Brax aggroing onto the range creep. Both laners doing this is just super duper common, and if he gets to the range deny, okay, he does miss it, but again, he's just gonna sort of sit in the wave with the Thunderstrike on. You have to be careful whenever you commit this Thunderstrike, because again, it's just more waves pushing into the DK, and if he's able to get those easy levels, he's gonna be really happy.
Yeah, that AoE damage every so often coming back to sort of hurt the Disruptor a little bit more than it helps, depending on how Brax manages the aggro and the equilibrium. So you got to be careful on Shadow. You never know, could always end up doing more harm than good. But for now, looks like things are going to be relatively stable in this top lane. Brax does have the Dragon Tail. That's something Cerberus will always have to sort of keep in the back of his mind. But for right now, Brax is trying to use the Dragon Tail to secure last hit. So he's not really looking to be aggressive right now. It is all about just building himself up over the first couple of minutes here, and honestly, if you're the Razor, you're okay with that. You're not really looking for any sort of fight in the first couple of minutes, that's for sure.
Yeah, and really, I don't want the same situation as last game. I don't want Brax to be okay with 1v2ing. That was what happened in the previous game. That's where you saw Flea just being able to stack all the time in the world. I think Cerberus really needs to play up a little bit more. I think he really needs to find the punish, because otherwise you can't be happy with
Canis
that.
Vulpes is going to get jumped in on mid. They hit him up with a concussive shot. Does Ryoya have the damage, though? Sleight of Fist already used. Doesn't have the Flame Guard either. He's getting turned on. Ryoya is going to be dropping low, and he will be finished off. Sammy, though, elsewhere on the map, was at least able to get in onto Crow. He and IX Mike combining forces to get that kill onto the bat. The problem is, Core 4 support in Arkosh's favor, just a little bit overconfident there from the Ember, but now it looks like Team are going to be able to get a little bit of revenge. They spot out Goat there in that sort of river area. Brax and Flea quickly able to take him down. So 2 for 1 overall across the map. That's going to sort of make that sting a little bit less, losing the Ember. And overall, Ryoya looking for revenge almost immediately. Canis Vulpes gets hit up. Hit up there by the slow. Unfortunately, there's no point in the Searing Chains. Only level 3 for Ryoya, so not really going to be able to keep that fight going, but push Canis Vulpes out of the lane, limit the farm as best you can.
Oh, and Crow.
Oh. Is he in trouble again? Homing Missile's going to hit. Sammy, not really going to be able to do much more than that. No points up in the Rocket Barrage, as we sort of saw from the Gyro in the previous match. So there's not really as much of an emphasis on that sort of early close-range damage anymore. So it's really just all about the farm. That's kind of how Sammy plays in general, but especially on the Gyrocopter here. He's just going to sit back. IX Mike can sort of cover his teammate. Now Crow in trouble again. Arctic Burn slowing him down. There's going to be the homing missile coming in, and the bat, he's not getting out of this one. Doesn't have his TP for 10, so he just literally sits there and waits for death to come. That's a little depressing, but Sammy's able to pick up the kill. 2-0-1 now for the Gyrocopter, so he's been involved pretty frequently in these early fights. Speaking of early fights, though, Ryoya and Flea looking to jump in again. Canis Vulpes in some trouble. Is that going to be enough from Shadow? Yes, it is. Okay. Only a level 1 kinetic field, but at that point, Ryoya's not level 6. He can't just jump over it with the Remnant, so he has to fall back, and the Sniper at this stage has avoided quite a few instances where it looked like he was in danger. 0 deaths now for Canis Vulpes, so hasn't always been easy to avoid some of those scenarios, but he's been able to get himself out of it and survive pretty much every time so far.
And I think it's just Ryoya knows he doesn't want to get punished. He doesn't want to sit in any more shrapnels. It actually does do a pretty decent amount of damage, and there's no way for him to sort of tank it up. I think it's just, if he sits in it with the current Flame Guard he has, he's going to lose it so incredibly fast. But once he gets level 6, that's, of course, when the lane changes, when the story changes, and Canis Vulpes is going to be on the back foot. I don't even know what item he needs to buy to sort of survive in this game. There's so much in the in the realm of just, they're going to run at you, they're going to kill you, and now that you're a core sniper, they're going to be okay expending much, much more. And even bottom, it's just, I don't think they were really ready for the situation that this bottom lane was going to end up being, because you're just giving a Gyrocopter basically infinite mana to harass you with the flak cannons. Every single time you cast a Napalm, you're just giving so much more into the Gyrocopter. And look, every single flak, it's almost as good as a Rocket Barrage, where it's just so much damage. And Gremlin jaunted.
Wait a minute, yeah, hold up. He jumped to the orb. He's going to be spot, okay, but yeah, how does he... Never mind, I was going to say, how does he get back out? But it looks like Team are not overly interested in chasing after him. Fair enough. Sammy, again, is just all about the farm, so Gremlo's out of lane. You're going to waste time if you chase after him. The Gyro's just going to sit there and farm, but Gremlo wants in for the fight versus IX Mike. This is a fight that he is straight up losing. He does not jump to the orb that time, though. He is going to be able to get away. If he does go to the orb, I feel like the Gyro is just going to be able to hit him up with the homing missile, and that might have been enough for the kill. So Gremlo's not exactly having a great time right now. You look at the last hit count for him, it's the lowest among those core heroes, but they are getting a little bit of help. Canis Vulpes is into the fight, but with dangerously low HP, he has to sort of fire from afar. It is going to drop Sammy low, but is it enough? They need more damage. Gremlo's going to go for the orb. It's not going to hit directly, and at this point, there's no way he jumps to that. Way too risky for him, but now Gremlo, he's still sort of getting spotted out here. They're going to try and hit him up. They know he doesn't have that illusory orb for a few more seconds, so they try to track down the kill. Gremlo's going to get himself, not actually getting himself away. That's not going to work either. Tried for the fake out play, but IX Mike is still on him. and they will be able to find that kill. So Canis Vulpes rotates bot, but not only does he fail to get a kill, he loses 2 of his teammates in the process.
And again, it's happening. You never want to see this. Brax and the Razor, Cerberus are even on CS, despite this being a 1v1. This is not okay. Because Flea, again, all of his time has been spent stacking these camps, rotating mid, getting runes, doing everything he needs for his team, and being incredibly efficient about it all the way. As well as bottom lane just winning. You can't afford to be okay in 3 lanes. You have to give something up, but as of right now, it's just not happening. And Roya, I mean, he's gonna get shot, but again, he doesn't really care. And unless they're lassoing him, unless they're coiling him, he has free reign. He is not going to play versus any stuns. Again, he has disables. There are things to sort of hold him down, but their ultimate base, their long cooldowns, he just kind of has free range for quite a long time. And if anything gets expended, of course, he's going to have even more of a free time.
Takes another assassinate to the face there. So, I mean, there's some damage coming out onto him, but you saw a moment ago, he was able to go for the TP play back to base, jump back out to the Remnant. He's got a full bottle this time to eat up that damage from Canis Vulpes. So this sniper, just, you start to wonder, what does he do? You were sort of wondering about the itemization. We see the Mask of Madness is what he's got queued up, but it feels like there's no situation that he fits into perfectly, no item build that's going to sort of work out exactly the way that he wants. It's just sort of a best guess based on what's currently available, and that's not really something you want out of your mid laner, where they're thinking, not entirely sure what the game plan is here, but we'll try X, Y, and Z. That just kind of is a recipe for disaster. As Ryoya, he's got to be a little bit careful. He throws down that Remnant, so he does have an escape route here, but it looks like he wants to kill instead. With Brax coming in, yep, Crow's going to get stunned up. This should be a relatively easy kill for them. Shadow, I mean, he could have tried, but he really doesn't want to get involved there. But Cerberus actually did get into the fight. Now, the Dreamcoil is connecting onto Brax. They lock him down. They hit him with the Assassinate. They might actually be able to finish him off. Canis Vulpes, though, could end up paying for it. No, Ryoya not able to finish him off in time, and now all of a sudden, your Ember's got to go. He's going to jump back to that safety Remnant he left a few moments ago. Can he jump? Yes, he can. Ryoya too fast with the reactions there. He avoids that pullback from the glimpse. The problem is, you ended up losing a little bit there for Team. That was not exactly clean coming out from them. But at least they get Ryoya out of the fight. That's got to count for something, but a bit of an awkward situation there. Ryoya tries to start the fight and can't necessarily finish it off.
Well, and you go from Crow sitting in the trees bottom sapping experience to sitting in the trees top to dying and buying back. There's a lot still going wrong for Arkosh, as well as just Sammy Boy farming up his Crystallis as soon as he has it. I can only imagine they're going to go to the Giga Stack, and they're just going to farm absolutely everything. It's going to take at least 2 or 3, maybe even 4 flat cannons, but then it is theirs. They will be able to get so much farm, so much net worth onto Flea after that, because it is all him. He's going to get a decent chunk of money after that gets farmed up. And again, it just feels like they're playing in 3 lanes. Even though you did lose Brax top, I don't think that has adversely affected really his timings at all. I think he's completely okay with things as they are.
Ryoya's actually going to take the stack for himself here.
Okay.
Flame Guard's helping him out. It's still not exactly an easy or quick process by any means, but he is getting through quite a bit of this. Sleight of Fist coming into play there as well. Actually, I think Flea ended up nabbing a couple of those, but overall, it's still going to be Ryoya getting the vast majority of that gold, and progress now towards that Maelstrom. Talked about it in the previous.
It's really smart. Because what, you get the tome, or you give the tome in mid lane over to the Winter Wyvern, and then you let Flea sap XP in the wave, as well as getting enough gold to finish a fight or a veil.
Oh boy, Crow.
He's actually walking.
Yeah, Ryoya can't catch up. Flea's got a TP away, but the TP's canceled, and alright. Cerberus gets the kill. Crow's able to sort of act as the bait, and now they want in onto Brax as well, but this is going to be the problem with their lineup pretty frequently. Where is the lockdown right now? Crow's not 6. They can't actually do anything to Brax. They hit him up with a static, but there's no kinetic field coming out to actually keep him trapped in place. Ryoya, meanwhile, just walks away from the Assassinate, and they're really not accomplishing a whole lot more here. They got the first kill onto Flea. That was impressive, but they can't afford to get too greedy here. They're trying to back themselves out, and Mike, that's pretty much going to put an end to the fight with the Winter's Curse.
And it still is very awkward. I don't think anybody really wants to stick here, and actually, if
Sammy.
Cerberus sticks around, they do have the lasso, but Yeah,
Sammy's
here
in.
comes
Called.
everyone
Oh god,
else.
that call down pretty much whiffs. But Dream Coil out from Puck connects onto 2. Both Ryoya and Sammy are locked down here, so really they'll have to sacrifice Crow in this instance. But I think everyone else should be making it away. Maybe not. Cerberus. Spoke
Nice
too
chains.
soon. Tried to TP out, but yeah, as you said, Ryoya locks him down with the Searing Chains, and now the rest of Arkosh don't want to be here. Does Brax? No, doesn't quite have the angle. The kinetic field is going to pretty much guarantee that. So if you're Arkosh, I mean, the first play was fantastic for them, right? They bait in, flee, you keep Crow alive, you turn around, you get the quick and easy kill, and then after that, it's a lot like we saw sort of in the previous series back in Game 1 between Hikori and Noping. Just because you made a good play, just because you took a fight, doesn't necessarily mean that you're guaranteed the advantage the next time around, as Ryoya, didn't quite time that one up correctly, and now actually doesn't have the mana. That's why he didn't go for the Remnant there, so he is sort of trapped in no man's land. The Assassinate's going to come through, and that finishes him off. Ix Mike didn't have any sort of Cold Embrace or anything that could have saved his buddy, so Arkosh, I'm not really sure they had any business getting that kill, but they get it anyway.
And here comes the stack. Same boy says, I'm done messing around. I'm just going to farm up. He has 125 last hits at 13 minutes into the game. That's only going to get faster and faster. This is the second time today we've seen a hero with 7k net worth around this time. We saw Angel Terrorblade have pretty similar numbers earlier today, so that's how strong this Sammy Boy Gyro is right now. But oh my goodness, he just has so much net worth.
Middle lane, okay. Dream Coil in onto the Ember. Where's the follow-up as of right now?
Oh, he broke the coil.
Wait a minute. Yeah, what? Ryoya. That's an uncharacteristic mistake. Just a step too far. Stuns himself up inside of that Static Storm. And he will fall. Canis Vulpus does get taken down in exchange, and now it looks like Team are going to be able to sort of regroup and close this one out. But that is a completely unnecessary death. Ryoya could have just sort of waited it out, and I don't think it would have been enough damage to kill him off. Instead, that extra step cost him. Brax, though, eventually going to be able to catch up to Shadow, but you don't have a lot of damage here. Level 1 Breathe Fire is not exactly going to get it done. And at this point, Brax might as well just sort of back away. There's not a whole lot for him to do here, but he does have Fleet coming in, so maybe they can keep Shadow in position, and I feel like that was maybe a little bit too early to try and go for that deny. Shadow was still sitting on maybe a third of their HP when they tried to sort of step into that creep camp, but not really sure there were many alternatives. Might as well go for it. Doesn't work out. Team, though, able to pick up another kill. They've doubled up their opponent's kill count, but now Ryoya's going to get jumped in on mid. Can they hit him? No, they can't. Crow needed to get a little bit closer for that lasso, and oh, Sammy wants in. They're going to lock down Crow. That's not the lasso you wanted. Now Canis Vulpus going to get taken down as well. Sammy and Ryoya run him down for the kill, and now down in the bottom lane, they're jumping in onto Gremlo. They hit him up with the silence, as well as that Mystic Flare. Brax, well, again, doesn't really have the damage. Part of that was because Cerberus sucked away about 100 of it, but you miss out on that final kill, but they're at least able to find those two in the middle lane. The Shames being spammed out over and over again, and Arkosh just keep on falling further and further behind. Not really sure how they get back into it right now. They don't have any sort of big plays they could make, although as I say that, they jump in onto Ryoya, they hit him up with a Dream Coil into that Static Link, and that is going to be enough, so I spoke a bit too soon. They find that kill. Now they want more. The Glimpse is going to pull the DK back in. Do they have another stun, though? No. Really, everything that they
don't. Yep. It's Assassinate, it's Lasso, and it's Glimpse Coil. They've got 4, and they had already used 2 at that point. But really...
Did they just Static Storm? They did. They Static Stormed a stack. Okay.
They didn't want him to clap. They didn't want him to clap.
Whatever means necessary at this point. I don't know. But they need that stack. They know Team are probably going to come looking for it, so why not? It's not the longest cooldown in the world, but still a little unorthodox. But at this point, now they're probably going to wish they had the Static Storm. They're looking to set up onto Ryoya, but without the Storm for the extra sort of lockdown, yeah, that's not a play. That's just Cerberus throwing a plasma field out into the river. Nothing comes of it, but now here comes the response. Team has smoked up themselves. They just need to confirm vision really onto anyone. They don't actually see anybody right now, so this isn't going to do what they want, but they're already rotating top. If they can't get a kill, may as well try to push things out with Samuel Boy leading the way. They can get in onto that tier 2 tower. They've even got the siege creep here to help them out. So that tier 2 is presumably going to go down, but the glyph will be deployed by Arkosh. The question is, does anyone actually come up here to defend it? As of right now, it looks like the answer is no, and nobody's really moving on foot either, for that matter.
And that's where you can't help but think that if you're going to pick this puck, the puck has spent so little time down here. I feel like Cerberus should be the one playing in the triangle, ping-ponging in his own jungle, but instead, it's really been the Razor farming this bottom lane. Meanwhile, Gremlo, who has a freshly picked up Blink, is just going to get kited away from a team fight that is actually going to start. And if Cerberus just dies here...
There's really not a lot for him to do here. He's going to try and turn around, looking to suck away that damage, but there's going to be the Winter's Curse out from IX Mike, locking down 2, Crow dropping low, but Cerberus is really the one that they want. They're going to take a little bit longer to finish him off, but they do still get the kill. Crow and Cerberus both dead. Canis Vulpus now stuck in between literally all 5 enemy heroes. He will die, but he's at least able to help get the damage down onto Sammy. So they do find that kill, but they need so much more. The buybacks are coming out. Crow and Canis both want in, but by the time they get back, Gremlo has died. He'll buy back too, however. Arkosh really just going to go in for this one as they do glimpse Brax back into the fight. The problem is he still has a little bit of backup here from IX Mike. He's going to get hit up by that Cold Embrace, but at this point I don't think it's going to be enough. Brax should still be taken down. IX Mike will take that opportunity to TP himself away. And, well, Brax dies. Sammy goes down as well, but Arkosh lose multiple heroes. 3 buybacks thrown into that fight as well, so it's just too costly at this point. I mean, they get what they wanted, but they needed to get that kill the first time around, not after 3 of their heroes buy back into the engagement.
And they chose their target. Brax was the one chosen for death. He is the only target that they could have glimpsed. If only you had 2 glimpses, then maybe you could have gotten more heroes there, but the other 2 were on cooldown, and Canis Vulpus felt the need to berserk. He needed to use his mom, otherwise maybe they could have gotten IX Mike there. But it's just so difficult for them to make plays. I think they might get him. Yeah, he's going to tick out mid, but once Sammy Boy finishes up this Satanic, we will, I think, start to see the end of the game kind of eclipse itself. And we saw there, you can still static link this Gyrocopter. You can still walk on top of him, get a lot sort of sapped away from him, and it will still kind of hurt his damage. He will not be able to really shred your team nearly as much, but you even saw on the approach, Crow running forward, trying to lasso him. Not only was it a fantastic curse from IX Mike, but it just took so long to kill Sammy Boy, and he's going to be able to save himself eventually, because again, what damage is going to be there after you have BKB, after you have Satanic? Arkosh is so reliant around the fact that their enemies aren't buying those items, because as soon as those items are on the table, I think the game will more or less start to end. Especially with as many buybacks committed as they are, it just feels like Team are just going to farm until they get those items. We already got a BKB queued up on the DK, and they're actually just going to go for Roche, because Sammy Boy decided to finish the Daedalus instead, so the Aegis works too.
Yeah. A little bit more damage oriented, but if it gets the job done, they're going to be okay with it as they push into that Roche pit. No significant response of any kind really from Arkosh, and they're just going to have to let this one go. Even if they did have heroes in better position, I don't know if they would really want the fight anyway. So this one's just going to go the way of Team. Sammy Boy picks up the Aegis, and for me, this is coming back a little bit. We were sort of talking about maybe some of the cores, but Crow on this Bat, the Bat Rider in a support position can still work out well, but it only works out if you still prioritize him getting that sort of item he needs. You see him sitting on 1900 gold, but we're 20 minutes in. At this point, even if he does get a Blink Dagger, that's not guaranteed to sort of turn around the fights for you, so it really just feels like he doesn't have much of an impact as Canis Vulpus, speaking of not having an impact, just going to get completely wiped out there. No one was really even in a position to help him, so he just sort of gets caught out in no man's land, will be taken down, and Brax, he's in onto the tower. His teammates, though, don't care about the objective. They're looking for the kill. They spotted out Cerberus. They got to dive the tier 2 for it. Meanwhile, Crow does go in with that lasso. They've locked down Brax, but they need the follow-up damage. This is still a pretty tanky DK, especially now with that Cold Embrace into the Winter's Curse coming out. The call down is going to be deployed as well. The static from Shadow will be there, but it's just not going to be enough to matter. Brax technically dies, but at this point, who cares? No offense to Brax, but he will give his life for that team fight every single time. 4 kills going the way of Team, and now Gremlo, where does he go? He's got no TP, so he's just going to have to try and get back on foot. But at this point, I'm not sure if anyone was looking for him, but now, yeah, he can't jump to that orb, otherwise he's in the middle of 3. So he's still trapped on his opponent's side of the map, walking past the ward. Flea is trying, I guess, but there's really only so much your Scarith is going to be able to do there. He's not quite fast enough. But while he's chasing, making sure Gremlo isn't back in a defensive position, you see Sammy pushing his way down mid. Tier 2 tower will fall. That Daedalus giving him the damage to really just sort of break through that objective. And now, yeah, he was sort of teasing maybe about the high ground, but by himself, even with an Aegis, that's still probably not a great idea. So Sammy falls back. Team will reset, but they do so with a 13,000 net worth lead here, about 22 minutes in. And Arkosh really look like they're, sort of running out of options in terms of how they can approach these fights.
And really, it's just kind of confusing to watch because now, oh, go, oh, they didn't finish the job.
They had their shades on, they turned around, trying to walk away like cool guys. Instead, they look foolish, as Shadow says. Puts it into the all chat there, walks away, I guess not victorious, but in this instance, maybe surviving his way.
Sammy, uh-oh.
Yeah, this is where things get a little rough. Cerberus too far forward. Sammy's in. That's a nice static storm down onto a couple, though, but IX Mike comes in with the Winter's Curse. Canis gets locked down. He's taking just so much damage, really, from just IX Mike alone. Ryoya, though, will now join the fight, and they will take it out. Canis Vulpus falls. Cerberus taken down as well. Sammy gets both of the kills, and now Shadow, he was able to get away the first time. This time, though, Brax will see it through to the end. So it was a little bit of fun initially there. They turn around too soon, but this time, not going to make the same mistake. 3 kills going their way and a chance to push up onto the high ground, still having the Aegis in hand on that gyro.
You holy lock at him, you heal him up with the talent, the Cold Embrace basically full resets him. It's just a very confusing game. I think they have these two heroes that could very easily split push. You see Crow sitting on 2.5k gold. He doesn't know if he needs to commit for that Blink Dagger, even though at this point, I think you have to do something, try to get him in the fountain, but I'm even upset a little bit with Gremlo, where I feel like they want to show up to every fight. They feel like they need to show up to every single fight, but he hasn't been split pushing and he hasn't been showing up to fights on this puck. And I feel like as crucial as you have been to keep the Ember Spirit down, if you were going to go mode, we're going to ignore the Gyrocopter, we're going to steal him. Actually, okay.
Well, I mean, that was an interesting initiation, but it doesn't really pan out. Sammy, Jesus, just destroyed everyone, taking down both Shadow and Crow, but okay, hey Gremlo. He's at least going to be able to buy a little bit of time for himself with the disc, but that's really not going to matter. They're just getting blown up. Sammy's got the Ultra. He wants the Rampage. Where's the nearest hero? He spots Gremlo. He gets the Rampage. Can he get the double? No. Brax going to take that one away, and that's the GG call. Yeah. Not much more to be done there from the side of Arkosh, and this was the game, ET, you said you wanted to see Team put together in Game 1. They really tightened it up. Game 2, 24-minute victory for them. They looked pretty fantastic that time around.
Yeah, and I think that they did. I don't even want to say impressed me. I think Flea and Sammy Boy definitely played much better in this game. I think IX Mike had some very crucial curses. I think the 1 or 2 curses he did end up getting were just like a fraction of a second too late. Like if he gets the Batrider on the approach as opposed to after the lasso's already committed, then maybe Sammy Boy can just reset his positioning and then the team wipe goes even better for them. But at the same time, you can't really beat 13k net worth Gyrocopter at 15 minutes. There's not much you can say about that. He was just completely uncontested. He didn't really have an opponent to play versus him. On the other side, Cerberus, I think you 1v1 a DK and you come out even versus the DK when it's Razor DK. You can't be too happy with yourself. And maybe Brax just has a little magic stick that just lets him just draw every single lane, but he just gets way too much when he doesn't have a lane partner. And I feel like Arkosh, if you wanted to go that route, it doesn't need to be Viper. It doesn't need to be, you know, some of these more cheesy, you know, better heroes early on, but you just need something that's going to help you in your lanes just that little bit more, especially when you're going up against NA talent. You're going up against some of the best, some of the people that were on very good teams that were fighting to qualify for TI this year. And you just didn't draft well enough, I think. I think their draft was confused. I think their play was a little bit confused. I think that this puck specifically, first 15 minutes, you had 3 fantastic coils onto Ryoya. You made this Ember Spirit incredibly sad. Then after that, you sort of walked towards your Blink Dagger timing, and then you never really felt like he was getting kills in side lanes or he was pushing in side lanes. I feel like there were fights that he wanted to show up to, and then there was just never any fight to come. It felt like every single time that he would want to come to the fight, he should have been split pushing, and every single time he showed up to a fight, he died or he used his spells and nothing happened. And I feel like you can't have both worlds. You either need to get the lanes out or you need to be successful in your team fights, because if one of those isn't happening or if either of those aren't happening, you're just straight up losing Dota, man. There's no 2 cents about it. And I mean, Sammy Boy, he's not going to give any margin for error. He just had a pretty much flawless gyro game.
15-1 on that gyro, and as you were sort of mentioning for the puck, it was so disappointing in the draft. We were talking about it being a hero that gave them so much to work with. You know, we were talking about Canis Vulpes, plays the puck so often, he's aggressive with it. That could be the sort of hero that they need compared to the Invoker in the previous match, which didn't quite have that same impact. And then they kind of pull the rug out from underneath us. They swap it up. They put the Sniper mid instead in a matchup that just did not feel fantastic. And obviously with the Sniper mid and Gremlo on the puck in the offlane, neither one of them was really able to live up to the expectations we had. So it was looking kind of interesting in the draft until they sort of swapped things up, and that swap, I don't know. Even if they do run it the other way around, if Canis Vulpes is on the puck and you shift that Sniper into some sort of supporting role, I don't know if that's enough to really have made a difference and get Arkosh into it, but it certainly doesn't help the way that they went about it here. So, I don't know. Back-to-back matches, they try for something unorthodox, as is their nature. It's how Arkosh plays, but it really just feels like they already sort of tied a hand behind their back before the game had even started, and Team very much able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and really just such wasted potential. Maybe Canis Vulpes was like, guys, I never get to play Sniper. I want to play Sniper. Let me play Sniper. I don't care about this game. And they give him Sniper. Like, that's the only thing I can picture in my head. That sounds so Arkoshi in my own head that has to be what happened, because even if you look at bottom, you just ended up in a situation where very simply Sammy Boy bought a stick and now you're giving him infinite mana on Gyrocopter paired with a hero that can heal him infinitely on the Wyvern and just has way more magic damage potential than you could ever have. It just doesn't make sense to me, but that's Arkosh. They don't need to make sense. But more so now, team, they got to look forward. They have to look at the opponents that knocked them down here in the first place. Team, they need to get ready for their match in 2 days because they've got a tall order, even though Hokori were able to pull the win out from under them in that series.
Yeah, no ping. Unfortunately, as you're sort of alluding to, lost earlier today, but they're the only team in this sort of first group that actually pushed a series to a full 3 matches. So they didn't go down without a fight, and obviously they were the team that sort of won that initial matchup back in the first round. So team looked pretty good here, but obviously there's some room for improvement that is going to have to come if they want to take down No Pain to get themselves that slot. So a good step in the right direction for team, obviously in this series, but gonna have to step things up even further moving forward. For now, though, they are the victors. They will be moving on. Arkosh will now be eliminated from this event. They will once again go to sleep until 7.30 arrives, and then we'll probably see Slacks post some horrible meme stuff on Twitter. Until then, though, we do say goodbye to Arkosh, and we'll be saying goodbye here as well. That was the second series on the schedule, so we are done for the day. We are going to be moving on, though, to the second group tomorrow afternoon. Let me check those matches before I say the wrong thing and look like an idiot. We've got Furia Jovem versus Infamous to start off the day, followed by Team Unknown versus ET, your boys, Simply 2 based, playing, unfortunately, without Monkeys, as King RD is sort of standing in for them, but they will be in action tomorrow afternoon. Same start time today, 1 p.m. Pacific time. So, going to be moving on to that next group. We'll see who locks down a spot there as well. But for now, we are going to be shutting things down. ET, any final thoughts, shout-outs, closing remarks here before we hop on out?
Well, I got told to do this, but don't forget to follow me in Kmart. Kmart, you can plug right after me, but you can catch me at twitch.tv/ET_Sigma, getting on that grind set just like everyone else. But aside from that, just tune in tomorrow. We're going to have more Dota, more action. I'll throw it right over to you, pal. Go for it.
Yeah, of course. We were told to plug our stuff. We were instructed to, not doing it of our own volition, but that's just how much we love you guys, and we're following those orders. So, yeah. Check us out. We got the Twitter handles. How do I... Pointing at the overlay is always dumb. I shouldn't have done that, but there you go. Give ET and I a follow if you liked the cast, or if you just want to yell at us on the internet. That happens quite a lot as well. But that'll do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow for some action from Group 2. For now, though, enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody, and we will see you all later. Thank you very much.